Anti-Afro Svengalis, I wanted to come on here to respond to several of your emails that I received. I wanted to answer your questions. I wanted to make sure you are aware of exactly what's going on, what you are seeing. And I'm talking specifically about the responses, the different responses that are getting lobbed, what you are witnessing. First and foremost, and let me clarify, I'm speaking specifically about the defendants in the federal lawsuit, the words, the actions, the attacks, and these attacks are directed towards anti-fraud warriors, people who support the anti-fraud cause, people they perceive to be supporting any effort to eradicate fraud, or people who generally don't pay attention to them, or people who they see commenting under pages that align with any sort of movement to eradicate fraud, or supporting me, Lynn and Honor, Rev G, or any person who is dedicated to making sure our people are treated with respect and dignity. People who are in those categories have been subjected to these types of attacks. And these attacks are coming from the defendants in the federal lawsuit filed against Umar Johnson. And as we know, there are 3 defendants, Umar, 2 others, and multiple people who acted at the behest of Umar Johnson, along with these other 2 defendants, are the people that are very angry. First and foremost, above anything else, what you are experiencing right before your very eyes would be the powerless desperation. The powerless point has always existed. This whole situation, people, has been about securing power. Now, before, people were able to trick themselves, kid themselves into believing that they had some power. The perception of power is extremely strong in our community. People can kid themselves into believing they have power they don't have. And the reason that happens is because the legacy of our people is to tolerate fraud. People don't do anything. They don't call and get people's asses turned in, and don't tell, don't be a snitch. And so the fraud continues to accumulate, and people start to believe they have this power that they actually don't have. But at least they know enough not to try this shit on white folks. So they continue to pursue victims within the Black community. So they kid themselves into believing they actually do have power. They don't have any power. They look for people who continue to reinforce this false perception of power. But now they've been hit with this federal lawsuit. Suddenly, you have desperation and the reality that you don't have power. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to hold on to something they don't have. So they're turning around and they're desperately trying to recapture or hold on to something they never had to begin with. So here you have all these desperate moves, these telling of these tall tales, making up all kinds of stuff, attacking people, name calling, just coming up with this ridiculous, you name it, they're doing it. Calling people names. It's desperation time, people. Desperation time. What do we do? Our names are in this federal lawsuit. We are refusing to acknowledge the fact we have no power, but we're unwilling to let that go. So we're trying to scare people. We're trying to intimidate people. It's desperation, people. This is exactly what people are trying to do, to scare you. You're going to what? Kowtow to who? Some freaks you don't even know? They're going to try anything they can to get you to internalize their desperation, to go along with their plan to believe them that they have some power that they don't even have. They're desperate. It's really pitiful, people. The trick is to get you to believe them even a little bit. But since our community is rife with this type of behavior, you can tell this is the environment that people grew up in, that this kind of shit went on and people fell for it. Hey, if you fell for it, you fell for it. I'm here to tell you, these people do not have any power. The goal is to try to convince you that they do. Well, we know that anti-fraud warriors don't buy this garbage. So let these people continue to try to trick you into believing they have all this power when they do not. The goal is to try to divert your attention away from the fact, guess who has everything in the world to worry about? Those who have been named in a federal lawsuit. So all the people out there they're trying to target, and trust me, they're throwing out their nasty, sticky tentacles far out there, like Umar was doing. When he was getting caught and busted, he was reaching further out with his nasty, stinky, smelly tentacles, trying hard, casting a wide net, hoping he can catch somebody that will believe his lies. That's the situation that we're facing right now. Powerless desperation, people. It's important that you believe the lies that these people are telling you so you won't think about the federal lawsuit. Do you have a copy of that federal lawsuit? If you do not have a copy of that federal lawsuit, get that lawsuit and sit down with your tea and your cookies or your donut or whatever you want, your cinnamon toast, and read it word for word. Then you tell me who has something to worry about. Some faking ass, concocted, whatever they're saying to you guys. I mean, you guys would not. I was totally cracking up at some of the mess, this emails I was getting that people were going around to different, I guess, message boards, and people were typing in live streams and people were coming behind them and saying things to them, trying to scare people. Is your name, I'm speaking to those who support the mission, is your name listed in a federal lawsuit? Have you been accused of doing the things that appear in that 32-page document? You're also seeing uncertainty. Can you imagine how it feels? Uncertainty. We're going through that with this pandemic, but personal uncertainty. Personal uncertainty because your name is up in a federal document. A federal document. Let me tell you something. I am not going to sell you short. I refuse to sell you short, other than to let you know a video is coming that's going to give you the details about how a civil case can be elevated up to criminal division just by somebody pulling someone's coattails. Have you seen this? Or we better call so-and-so, the investigator, to take a look at this document, or email it to so-and-so. Because just by the information alone in this document, there are criminal acts cited in this document. That judge can decide to elevate this case to the criminal division. Have someone look at it. Would you like to be in a situation like this? Anyone out there that is getting harassed because anyone on this document doesn't want to face the truth that it is indeed a legitimate lawsuit? You're not mentioned. Why would you worry? Why would you worry about somebody trying to take this sector's attention away from this lawsuit? Now, if somebody decides they don't want to pay attention to the lawsuit, they don't have to pay attention. But to try to get your attention away from it, to try to put you on the spotlight, why would you be in the spotlight? Have you done anything like this? The answer is no. Anti-fraud warriors don't do things like this. I'm proud to say. We don't engage in these types of behaviors. We are proud to say. I'm proud to say. We are proud to say. You're proud to say. It doesn't matter whether or not you call yourself an anti-fraud warrior. I proudly identify myself as an anti-fraud warrior. No shame in the game. Or you choose to call yourself by your first name, your last name, your avatar. It doesn't matter. Whether you're just a plain garden variety decent person, we do not engage in these types of behaviors that you see in this federal lawsuit assigned to Judge Young. We do not engage in these types of behaviors. You see panic mode, desperately trying to find a way around the focus being placed on these individuals in this lawsuit. You see literal frenzy coming up with new scenarios. It's really pitiful. The thing that you can do to repel any effort to draw you in is keep your shield up and do not allow yourself to internalize any of the words that are coming at you, that are coming in your direction. Because people send me stuff like all the time. Since this whole thing got started with Umar, all the stuff people have sent me, I don't internalize it. But I did tell you all where I draw the line. I consistently draw the line, and you know where that is. If I become aware of any threats, I am going to notify the FBI, and I'm going to call the local police. Anything else have I cared in 4 years? Why the hell would I care now? Tell it to the judge. You have an audience. You wanted a big stage. You wanted everybody looking at you and listening to you. Now you have the biggest stage you could ever imagine. You have the feds looking at you. You want to tell the feds all about me. You want to tell any lie you want about me. Tell it to the feds. I don't care anything what you have to say. This is the response you should give to all these defendants who try to harass you and make up lies about you. Tell it to the judge. Tell it to the feds. In the meantime, people, you know there's much more to come. Take it to heart. Buyer, beware.